safety man here, talking about New Jersey's permit to carry a handgun, often called the CCH. New Jersey's acronym is Ccare. Going to the range now to qualify some individuals so they can get their Ccare or permit to carry a handgun. The way I train the vast majority of my clients is I assess exactly what it is they're looking for. They're looking for carrying a large style firearm everywhere they go, qualifying on a gun just in case they want to carry it somewhere, but primarily they want to carry it inside the home or have it available inside the home. Am I qualifying somebody that's got a big, long, well-rounded history in firearms and they just want to add to their collection, and because they travel so often with those firearms, they figure might as well get the permit to carry, that way I'm not going to run afoul of any laws. And you can see there might be three different types of goals there, and I have to try to get all three of those people to be safe, legal, and effective with the handgun, because they may not be thinking that they're going to use it in a self-defense situation outside the home. They're only limiting their mindset to a very limited set of circumstances or fact patterns to where they may utilize that firearm in self-defense or defense of some other third party, whether it be a family member, a co-worker, someone you worship with, or an innocent third person. I will say this, having been a firearms instructor for greater than 2 decades and a police officer for nearly 3, I still am in the world of law enforcement and use of force. I still get called by all the major media outlets to come render my opinion on a force choice by a police officer, whether it been deadly force or physical or mechanical or enhanced mechanical force, taser, less lethal rounds, pepper spray, firearms, hands, fists, feet, kicking or something. And it always comes down to this one word, reasonable. So regardless of what your goal is and why you want a firearm, if you decide to use that firearm as deadly force to defend yourself or some other third party, it doesn't matter what your initial goals were. It doesn't matter, I only wanted it for this or only wanted it for that. I didn't anticipate, I didn't expect. None of that is going to mean anything. What they're going to look for, were you safe, legal, and effective with that firearm? Did someone attest to that, i.e. your trainer, like me, your certifier, or was your use of force reasonable based on an individual similar training and circumstances in that type of a situation or in that exact situation? That's what it's all going to come down to, is was your force choice reasonable and were you safe, legal, and effective with the firearm? So that is the standard that I train every one of my clients to. This 50-round course, 40-round hits, 80% is with no time limit, is the easiest course I've ever run. It's the easiest course I've ever put on for people. Okay, the course to get in the police academy to become a cop, assuming we never know if you touched a gun before, is harder than this. So you need to be able to pass this course, and you need to be able to pass it at 100%. There's no excuse for missing any rounds. If we miss rounds in a gunfight, where do they go? Yeah, I don't know either, but most likely it's going to cause property damage, and heaven forbid it could cause death or serious bodily injury. So we do not have the luxury of missing. We don't have the luxury of hesitating. If you're not competent, you're going to hesitate, and that's going to make you lose confidence. And if you're not competent and you're not confident that you can fire one-handed or fire at a little bit greater distance than the course said you had to, or a little bit faster, or do an emergency reload, which we only did twice in the course, but I never did any additional training, how well do you think you're going to perform under stress when it's loud and it's scary and people are running around and your life is in danger and your significant other's life is in danger and you're nervous? Am I supposed to shoot? Am I not supposed to shoot? If you continue to train with me, we're going to expose you to a lot more of those types of situations where it's going to be required of you to choose force quickly, correctly, and deploy it accurately within the law. Okay, I have access to outdoor longer ranges, I have access to a shoot house, I have access to a FAT system, which is a virtual range where you don't need any firearms, but the targets are moving, you get the opportunity to converse with them, to attempt to de-escalate them. It's a really great training tool. And we want to use all tools to our benefit. I'm not saying we have to use every tool in and of itself all the time, but you want to mix up your training styles. You want to practice doing some CQB or some close quarters battle drills where you're firing really quickly at multiple targets, having to determine if one's a threat and the other one's a not threat, and respond to those accordingly. You're going to have to do some shooting while moving. You have to do some shooting from uncomfortable or unorthodox positions. Okay, I even have my clients shooting one-handed, even though the Attorney General's policy says they don't, but assuming they pass, there's no problem with it, right? So I want them to have confidence and competence that should one of their hands go down and be unavailable, maybe they're guarding or getting a loved one out of the way, pushing somebody, maybe they're in a physical fight for that or some other weapon during this encounter. I want them to have the confidence to be able to do that. Now, we only did it maybe 5 rounds, so I'm not going to pretend that we moved towards competence on that, but we definitely exposed our shooters to being able to do something they didn't think they could do. You should see the joy and the elation on their face when they're like, wow, I didn't know I could shoot so accurately with one arm. Yeah, exactly, you can. And that's my goal, is to build that confidence so we can slowly increase their competence to make them an effective defender. That's the end of the day goal. Let's talk about holsters. Holster's primary job is to secure your weapon to your body and make it available for you to draw quickly, engage, and then reholster smoothly so you can do something else. That's basically the purpose of a holster. Everything else we add to it is also designed to conceal your weapon. You can still print a little bit. Printing the showing of the outline of the firearm in the holster through an outer garment is not considered illegal. It's still considered concealed. Just understand that certain places you go, printing may be picked up a little bit more readily than other places because people are more aware. If you walk into a gun shop and you're printing, everybody there is going to know you have it. You walk around with a bunch of police officers and you're printing, they're all going to know you have a firearm. But I suppose that if you walk into a Starbucks or a Panera or Whole Foods, people may not know that you're printing in there. So just be careful and understand what your goal is in a holster system that you choose, that you're accomplishing some of the right goals. So let's look at some of the goals of what a generic holster is going to do. And you're going to have to pick. It's going to be a slide. There's very few holsters that do all of these. So I'll rate them in order of what I think is important. Okay, comfort definitely has to be number one, or you're not going to wear it, or you're not going to wear it properly, and you're certainly not going to wear it as often as you probably should. Because we can't predict when there's going to be violence. Only the bad guys can predict that. So comfort is very important. Try a bunch of them on. Okay, you can order about 10 holsters from Amazon, get them all shipped to you with your clear, safe, empty weapon, no ammunition in the same room. Spend a couple hours, watch something on Netflix, sitting down with that holster, get up, go to the bathroom, go make dinner, sit down, eat dinner, and enjoy it with the different holsters on. And you'll be able to find out, can you tolerate it, or is this just too much? After that, I'm going to go for retention. Once I put the gun in the holster, is it easy for it to come out? If I fall, if I do a cartwheel, if I jump real quick, if I, and low crawling on the ground, if I get into a little wrestling match with somebody, is that gun going to fall out, or is it very easy for someone to just grab it out of that holster real fast? So you need to know the retention. Retention's on two sides. Will it keep the gun in? And then finally, after I have the gun out, moving into my third point, after I've drawn the gun, either used the gun or used it to de-escalate the situation, I need to go holster it. I want to be able to look at the holster, clear the holster, and smooth to the holster with one hand. I don't want to have to use my offhand to holster my gun. I may need that to keep somebody away. I may need that to get people to come to my location. Maybe I'm injured, something happened. I don't want to have to use two hands to holster that gun, just because I always want to have one hand free. Okay, so concealability, comfort, retention, and then ability to reholster that firearm with one hand smoothly and securely. Those are the three things that we need to really, really make sure our holsters do. And again, based on your mission, based on where you find yourself, based on how you carry your gun, you may rank one or two a little bit higher than the other one or two, but those are the three things we need to consider. Is it comfortable? Am I going to wear it? Is the retention is going to keep my gun in it and keep that trigger guard closed or covered so nobody can accidentally get it? And can I reholster, put that gun back in the holster while I'm under stress, mind you, while I'm under stress, because I just had this thing out and I may have fired it, I may not have, but I'm probably stressed at this point. Can I then clear the holster, look at the holster, smooth to the holster, and then come back to that de-escalatory position? Those are the things that we need to consider with a secure concealed holster. Stay safe, be ready, trade now.